what I'd like to do, we have this other group that if you ever get time, you're always invited. It's doing some very interesting things. And I like to take the really inspiring guests that are on the main show and talk to you a little bit about something that's kind of behind the scenes. Like, you're aware of a lot of what's going on in the world, and that on the surface, we have a group in control that intends extermination of life on the planet. And once that's understood, all these sub-agendas of the geoengineering and the drug medicine and the toxic agriculture and the 5G and all this stuff make sense, because it's all the agendas in parallel that they're using to, not suddenly, which they could, but ritualistically, systematically destroy life. And a lot of people get kind of discouraged. In fact, it's so intimidating to look at that. They can't really stand it, because if you allow yourself to feel it and the satanic energy that's running it, it's kind of intimidating until you learn what to do with your intention so that you can learn about it and not be dragged down by it, which allows you to be aware. But there is another energy that we've been talking about on the main show, which is much stronger. It's just not as visible on the surface. And so, in a way, we're trying to bring that up so that it just renews everything. And we get a better cycle than the one that's planned by the rulers right now. So, where are you as far as optimism for the future goes right now, and why?
This is very unfortunate what you just described. And unfortunately, again, you were right. But then you have forces of dark and forces of light. Without the dark, light could not be seen. But what's been happening now, it's like a spiral. As people are awakening, those forces who control us, manipulate with us, they are raising the level of that control. And you just mentioned some of their tools, 5G, very powerful tool. They always try to present the stuff they are bringing to us as beneficial to us. For example, Internet of all things, 5G.
Right.
I mean, the frequency of 5 gigahertz is the frequency of the microwave. It's proven that it causes the cancer. But what's even worse, of course, our health is worse. But what's even, bad so much, it really is going to separate our spiritual abilities from our physical aspect. Without the spirituality, how are we going to stand against them? It'll be tough. Chemtrails, they've been poisoning our air, soil, water. In US, 2 manufacturers, Coke and Pepsi, in more than 30 states, they are the only one who can sell the water. What they do, they are adding the additives, aluminum and other bad stuff. Mm-hmm. And a few years back in France, when they analyzed Dasani, the Coca-Cola water, they realized it's poisonous, so that they forbid them. But then you go to third world countries, you go to Egypt, you go to Arab countries, you can see everywhere, Pepsis and Coca-Cola, and so basically they have the full control, the toothpaste, the fluorides. So you are right, they are putting so much pressure on us, on our poor physical but also mental body and so on. And what they offer as the way out, the pharma, they give you the medicine that never cure the illness. They just hide the effects of certain illnesses. But then the side effects are so powerful that you would need another medicine to fight the side effect, and another one, and another one, and then your blood pressure goes up, and you need another one. They never cure the really problem. So, and it's, for them all about the money and keeping us, relied on them, on corporate world and so on. So it doesn't look good. But now, you are right, in the last few years, their intentions are so bad, with such a bad frequencies, with all of us, with all of it which is against us. So when it comes to the optimism, it's tough. But then, since you and I are talking about it right now, it means there is a hope.
That's right.
Because once we stop talking about it, it'll mean that's it. There is no hope. There is no place for the optimism. Sometimes, like in the case of US or British or Russian election, we think that we have a choice. We don't have a choice. Of course we don't. I mean, they're always, controlled politicians. They're going to do the same thing, that the major stuff they will never touch. They can talk a little bit higher or lower tax, but these are such a minor stuff. They don't touch the major thing. They don't touch elites. Obama, he came to power. He was talking about the change. His motto, he came there, he said, wow, there is a government behind the government, I can do nothing. And of course he was right, because they've been around there for the very long time. And what we mentioned during the main interview, 60, 70 years ago, they said, first they're going to have this fight between two blocks, Eastern and Western. The second one, they're going to have the fight between Western world and Islamic world. And the third one, they are going to initiate the fight between, the whole planet against so-called UFO invasion, but invasion really never happening. It's been generated here on this planet. Right. They've been using such a powerful tools. But then when you think, why do they do that? And how does it function? Our human society, it's like a pyramid. At the base is majority of us. And then as you climb up, you can see, the elite, you can see family of 300, you can see Illuminati, you can see, Masonry, you can see, 8 biggest banks doing their yearly meetings in Switzerland. So finally you come to 2 families, Rothschilds and Rockefeller. For the last 300-400 years, yes, they've been on the top of the pyramid. But they are not the ones who make decisions. They are controlled.
Right.
And they are told, you don't listen, you will be removed.
That's right.
So the question is, who's in control? Obviously, the beings who want us to be very aggressive zombies. Very aggressive. So we produce so much bad energy, negative energy, which obviously help them. We either feed them with this bad energy through our violence and the war.
Yeah, I agree. And in the end, like all good ceremonial sacrifices, that's the, extermination of life. But the other option is still open, even if it's not obvious. And I think just like uncovering the pyramids, what you're doing is symbolic. Because if you uncover the pyramid of individuals and their consciousness is no longer hidden, the overwhelming positive power of it, even if they are not visibly doing anything externally, by resonance can just reverse everything.
I agree with that. I agree that there is a hope. Yes, I agree with that. And because we are actually the most powerful, energy generators. We emit, we receive, other people receive stuff from us. So yes, so when it comes to the optimism, yes, as long as we believe, we can prevail. But then it has to start with us, with our personal change.
I think it's 100% working inside yourself.
Yes.
And it's like we're some kind of magical, unimaginable, limitless being that's hypnotized to think that it's helpless and small and temporary and worthless and needs to be controlled by teams of experts and everything in the government and, belief systems and stuff. And I think that's why, even though they've got all these sub-agendas that we mentioned going on, they all serve the main agenda, which is to make sure we stay hypnotized until they're done with their plans.
We need to get better organized. 120 years ago, we had Nikola Tesla with the great ideas about the free energy, free energy devices. But he was the only one. He was genius 150 years ahead of his time. So we still, we are still not there. It's not that 20, 30 years before we understand everything. But he was the only one. They could, remove him easily, instead of him, they got Edison's, inferior, very expensive, plants and so on. So it went other way. But nowadays, we probably have at least 100 projects that deal with the free energy from Brazil to US and Canada and Dubai and Germany and Singapore. And this is the power that eventually won't be controlled. It's going to come there. Once we have free energy, well, I just mentioned free energy, for example. Once you have that, imagine its collapse of, petrol industry, oil and gas, petrochemical, chemical, auto industry, the way that we know it. I mean, all these corporations, all these big monies, all these big lobbies, they lose the ground. Free energy will be so important for us.
Yeah.
And it is like the first pillar of the free society. And the second pillar is the free flow of knowledge. So instead of keeping us in dark, once we have the access to the knowledge, then the elites do not have monopols anymore.
That's why they're really emphasizing censorship at the moment.
Yes. Right. So based on those two pillars, we can have society of free women and free men.
Exactly. I mean, right now there are people with, even the government has perfected gravity control 100 years ago, and the free energy inventors are just hiding at the moment, trying not to get killed. And the reverse engineered energy from the downed UFO craft, that's a lot of what the government is hiding at the moment. Stephen Greer has done a lot of work with that and other people. But the knowledge is there. It's just kind of looking for a way to get released from the control. And I think the way is probably internal. That's the solution.
20 years back, if you talk to the public about the UFOs and you are coming from the system, either from the military or, some guards at certain facilities, you got killed.
Right.
Just 20 years ago, things have changed.
Yeah.
Many people can talk now. You got the YouTube as very powerful tool. Yeah. Internet, very powerful. Things have changed. People from Singapore, people from Australia, they know what we are doing here in Bosnia or there in the United States. So I think now we have very, powerful platform to get better organized. It starts with information, knowledge, and then people realize, hey, this is the way we should do it.
Yeah, I think people also have to be aware that they're planning a false disclosure, which a lot of people will celebrate. And the disclosure will be, okay, we know about aliens, they're all mean and they want to take over the planet. And so we have to tell you we've been hiding it, we're sorry, they want to kill you. And we have to give up all your rights so that we can defend ourselves. And that kind of disclosure is not the real one. The attacking ships will be domestically built. And if people are ready for that, that would decrease the chances of it happening. So right back to your main work of consciousness, the more conscious people are, the better discretion they have automatically, right?
Yes.
To tell what's true.
Yes.
So, well, hate to let you go because it's been a really fun discussion. I hope we can stay more in touch. And, when we have a project in mind too, which is including agriculture in its beyond organic state and all the released technologies and things like that, to build something like that here. And talking to you makes me think we should absolutely incorporate everything from pyramid energy we possibly can. And two places could be in touch that way.
Good.
So I think what you're saying, bottom line, is there's reason for optimism, right?
Yes.
So, and if people want to learn more about what you're doing, is there like a website they should go to, or?
Well, our official foundation website is bosnianpyramid.org. Bosnianpyramid.org.
Pyramid singular, right?
Pyramid singular, yeah. Bosnianpyramid.org.
Okay.
If they want to read my books,
yeah,
can do it free of charge. booksbydrsam.com, booksbydr.sam.com, and I have probably 9 books free to read.
And there's no period after DR, right? Just just the letters. Okay.
No. Booksbydrsam.com.
Okay. All right. That sounds great. So let's stay in touch, and we'll see what the next step is.
All right. Sounds good.